Welcome to Spirit Outspoken, the podcast for Christians who are ready to explore the deeper side of faith. We believe God's truth is bigger than what we've been taught, and that real spirituality isn't something to fear, it's something to discover. Each week, we open the space to explore miracles, energy, healing, consciousness, and divine science, all through the lens of a God who loves us and a faith that's still unfolding. Whether you're deconstructing, rebuilding, or just feeling spiritually stuck, this is your place to reconnect with wonder, deepen your walk, and let the Spirit speak. Hello and welcome to another episode of Spirit Outspoken. You guys, we are excited today because we're kind of taking a fresh start here. We've done our deep dive into the Bible and history and a lot of research stuff. And today we're in the mood to just kind of lighten it up. And we're going to talk about one of our favorite things, which is angel numbers. So if you don't know about angel numbers, these are times in your life where maybe you see repeating numbers frequently. So it might be 1111, it could be 333, 444, so on. These can be little signs and information coming to us from our guides and angels, and that each of these numbers is associated with different messages for us, depending on what's going on in our life. And Jason and I have laughed because we always talk about how angel numbers are like the marijuana of the spiritual realm and that they're the total gateway. I feel like they're so innocent, you know? It's a good way for people maybe who haven't done some of this more, I would say, mystical side of spirituality. It's a good way to just kind of like dip your toe in the water that doesn't feel absolutely threatening or like really kind of weird and out there. So
who doesn't like angels? I mean, like, except you were scared of angels.
Yeah, as a child.
Well, I mean, everywhere in the Bible, they're like, fear not. Like, I'm sure they look insane.
And they say, like, she was terrified. And the angel said to her, do not be afraid. I know. So I was always like, oh, God, that would be awful.
Yes. No. But angel numbers feel cute. And
they're just
not too hard. Yeah.
Cute little
messages
scary. And like, like a heart emoji from
heart
our
emoji.
Guys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let me just back up a little bit.
Yeah.
If you've never heard of Kyle Gray is kind of like the guru of angel numbers. Wouldn't you say that?
Oh, definitely.
You can follow him on Instagram. You can check him out online. But he really focuses heavily on angels and angel numbers and will give you a whole rundown of things. This is his deck. So one thing I started doing when I started getting into some of this is I bought an angel deck and started pulling a card in the morning after I would meditate. And it was just funny how so often it would perfectly align with the exact message that I needed to hear that day, depending on what was happening in my life. So Jace, I'm just going to shuffle the deck here. We're going to shuffle.
Okay.
You tell me when to stop. Okay. Our card today is vulnerability and freedom.
Wow.
Okay,
cool.
So let me read the message. Let's
read it.
All right. Angels are with you now to boost your confidence because they can see how harsh some of the experiences you have endured have been. They want you to know that vulnerability gives you the chance to find a strength that will bring you freedom. To move into that freedom, your angel guide is encouraging you to take some time today to connect with the parts of yourself that you love and admire. Know that your sensitivity is not a curse, but a gift. You are an emotionally connected soul, and although recent waves of emotion may have overwhelmed you, those emotions are great reminders of how much you care about living truthfully and in a positive way. So take some time now to value the traits and quirks that make you the unique person you are. That will allow the world to value them too. It isn't always easy to put yourself out there, but you are being encouraged to do so now. Drop the shields and barriers that you have put up because these walls are preventing the world from seeing your light. Your angel guide is reminding you that you don't need to protect yourself because God can do that for you. Whenever you feel vulnerable or unsafe, old habits and patterns will want to kick in, but call in the light of God and surrender your need to protect yourself. When you give angels permission to come in and help you, they will. They will guide you toward freedom, joy, and your highest good.
Oh my gosh.
This resonates with me with everything that we went through with that post that went viral. Because we've talked about this before, that on this podcast, being vulnerable about some of the things that we're exploring and some of the questions we have, especially as Christian women, feels very vulnerable and feels at times scary to put yourself out there in a very public way and ask things that oftentimes people are afraid to say out loud. And because of the threat of pushback or being told things, which happened to us recently, right? And I
big time.
did find when that video kind of took off and people were coming at us with some really harsh things, I did find that old sensitive people pleaser, like those old parts of me definitely kicked in. And I had to sit with that and allow myself to process it and meditate on it and pray about it to get back to equilibrium. So I feel like this resonates with me a lot. But what about you?
Yeah. I love that so much because, Rach, I mean, you shared at the beginning, I don't know if it was like our emotional vulnerability episode, but one of your biggest fears about starting this podcast was that somebody was going to tell you that you're going to go to hell.
Yeah.
And like, I had like other reservations, but that was the one that you were really kind of like, I'm going to share, like, this is what I'm scared about. And not one person, but many people told us that, right? On this reel. So, and it was really cool to see because I saw, like the foundation crack a little bit, and you were very open with me as your friend to be like, okay, I'm like freaking out a little bit about this. I'm like trying to navigate my way through this. But really kind of what emerged on the other side of that experience was somebody that I saw that was more confident, more sure than ever in what you were doing. So it was like facing those fears through vulnerability is how you have grown and be able to experience more freedom as an individual. And like you weren't just doing this on your own. I mean, I felt very much so like we were getting this heat together, but it was really cool to see how you as an individual transform through this experience. And it wasn't easy, but it was through vulnerability that led to freedom. Like exactly what the card said.
It's so true. I think when we face our fears head on, and I'm learning this too, just as a mom, as a individual, and you get to the other side of it, you kind of go, oh, wasn't that bad? It's like this thing that's been holding you back or keeping you small or whatever it is. It's like, okay, I can do this. I don't know.
Yeah, Rachel's Sandy with the cigarette at the end of Grease after her transformation, her leather and skin tight spandex and putting the cigarette down and just like, fuck it, you guys.
I'm trying. She's in there. She's reemerging.
Yes, that's right.
So anyway,
how are we going to do this? Are you quizzing me? What are we doing?
Yeah, I think we should just start. So, okay, you guys, this is all new to you. So one thing that might start happening once you
By the way, you guys, Rachel's sick. So if you're what's in her cheek, it's a cough drop.
And you guys, I told Jason this morning, I feel like I sound like Marge Simpson's sisters on The Simpsons, where it's just like...
It's actually better today. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, yesterday I was like, okay. Speaking of Sandy
I don't know what's
smoking,
going on.
I was like, you took that a little too literally.
My Sandy cigarettes giving me my sultry voice. Okay, let me back up a little bit. So if this is all new to you...
Yeah.
So just simply being attentive and paying attention to any time you see numbers in sequence is really like the ultimate way to kind of dip your toe into this. Things that might start happening is you might start noticing numbers, like say on a receipt, whether it's a microwave, whether it's, on buildings and addresses. That's kind of how this starts to play out. But what we're going to do is we're going to go to Kyle Gray's website, and I'm just going to read through. Okay. So 111, or you might hear a lot of 1111. You are one with all that is. Know that all you are doing and giving is for the world and all the beings in it. So this one I've also heard is a heavy manifestation number. Your thoughts are coming into action. So pay attention to your thoughts and really be aware of what's coming forward.
I have a story about 111.
Yes. Let's go into that because you have a lot of experience.
Yeah, 111 for me has been a pretty pivotal one. So the explanation that you read really connects with me now because like I haven't heard that specific explanation of 111, and it even more so affirms what my experience was. So shortly after my second oldest son was diagnosed with leukemia, I saw 111 everywhere. I mean,
yeah, you did.
We were in Children's Hospital, and the channel he wanted to go to was 111. His bingo card that he would get from the hospital to play bingo was 111. Anytime he would go into a procedure, I would show Charlie my phone. I was like, it's 111. Like when they would take him away, it was absolutely bananas. It was everywhere. And the thing that I want to say too, I guess like my unsolicited advice to people that are new to angel numbers is you will know when you are getting a message. It will, like,
Yes.
sometimes I'm like, a number is just a number. Other times I'm like, I know that this is important.
Yeah,
And I
pay
mean,
attention.
yes, I sent Rachel this picture. I went to Chicago. It was during a time that things were kind of dicey with my son's treatment, and my Uber pulled up to the hotel. I kid you not. There was one that was like half the building.
Yeah.
It was like a billboard saying, "We're here. You're protected." Like, what you read was really cool, because I have felt, even from the beginning of this journey, that this was a very divine journey that has purpose from all of us. Like, my son is here to wake up everybody around him. And I feel like I'm here to help share his story, to help other people heal. So it's this dual faceted, like, blessing of a reminder of what our purpose is, but also a reminder of our divine guidance and protection. But like,
Absolutely.
Rach, I found out a year later, after he was diagnosed, the building that we found out he had cancer and this large tumor in his chest, the address of the building was 111. Like, it's just, I don't have to say, like, just 2 weekends ago, I was starting to show my friends that, like, aren't even totally into this. I was like, my locker's 111. My receipt from my spa appointment, 111. Yeah, it just hits you over the head, so you can't deny it. But anyway, that's sort of been like my number that I have like
Yes.
felt the most guidance around.
And I can confirm that because Jason will often send me pictures and it is like boom, 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 boom. I mean,
Another
everything.
one.
Yeah.
Another one.
So it's
Totally.
so cool though when you
It's
learn
so
about this
cool.
because you feel so supported and loved. And it's just like this constant
Yes.
reminder of how much you are being guided and how
I
much they
know.
are there and involved in your life, right? In a very
Yes.
tangible way.
They are
Yeah.
here. They're sending messages. And I love that a lot of people call them God winks.
Yeah.
These synchronicities or these things that happen that are just so, you know, beautiful and serene and magical. And I don't know, just wanted to
It's so
share that.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
Tell us
that.
about 222.
All right, 222. You have the ability to lift up the hearts of all those around you like an angel on the earth. You were born to shine.
Ooh.
That's a good one. 333. Now, I was getting this for a while, and I will tell you my experience with
Yeah.
angel numbers is more like I tend to get them in cycles. So, like,
Yeah.
I'll be going through a while where I see, like, recently, 555. I'll get to that in a little bit. But so here's 333. You are powerfully aligned with Jesus and other ascended masters at this time. You are at a crucial point on your journey where you can go beyond all previous setbacks. JSAT, you 2 months ago kept seeing 333. Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, like, you guys, and like, this really started bubbling up. Oh my gosh. I have goosebumps. Okay. This started bubbling up right around the time where we started to explore the real Jesus and doing research and looking into
Yeah.
Mary Magdalene. Yes, Rach. Oh my gosh. I forgot about this because, like, I was thinking about 111 a lot. Yes. So 333 started popping up literally everywhere. And it was right around the time. And like, honestly, since we sort of wrapped those episodes, I'm not seeing it so much
I
anymore.
know. Isn't that crazy? Because
Yes.
it was right when we started reading the Mary Magdalene book. And then we started going down our rabbit hole of everything. So how cool is that?
It is
That
cool. And I feel like the way that I interpreted that was we're on the right path. Like,
right.
Jesus is with us. He's there in presence. And anytime we see that, we're like, you and I would be on the phone and we'd be like, oh my gosh, it's 333 again. Or a clip that I was working on was 3 minutes and 33 seconds. Like, it just was, but it was like very specific to the work that we were doing together and
Yes.
around the podcast.
And we would have 333 views on a reel that was about that topic. And it was
Yeah.
always very aligned with what we were studying and researching at that time, which is so cool.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up. I totally forgot.
Yeah, I know. So 444, you are surrounded by 100,000 angels. Miracles are happening before your eyes.
I have a cool story about 444.
Oh my gosh, share it.
Okay, so I'm probably going to cry, but I have a very cool thing about 444. So, right after my son was diagnosed, I started having these really, really cool experiences with angels. So, I had connected to my guardian angel a couple years before Roman was diagnosed. And it was through doing work and meditations of Kyle Gray.
Yeah.
And right after my son was diagnosed, I felt the presence of my guardian angel, but then I felt the presence of another angel. And I now believe that that was my son's guardian angel. And just without
Oh.
even having like to call them in, I just felt their presence.
Yeah.
And there was one particular procedure that took place where we were very concerned about our son's ability to make it through that surgery because of the complications he was having from chemo and because of how much disease was in his body. It was very telling to us when we were talking to the anesthesiologist and the surgeon that they were worried. And I just closed my eyes and I could picture 1,000 angels in Roman's surgery room. Like, I just and, like, it wasn't like I intended to have this thought. It's just the image that came to me, and they were all, like, shoved into the operating room shoulder to shoulder and filled his room, and I, like, felt such peace in that moment. So fast forward a couple weeks, and he's out of the hospital. We're now just outpatient in the chemo clinic facility, and, I say outpatient, but it's, like, very much a hospital setting, but he was getting a procedure, and I was just feeling so, like, sad and down, and I kind of missed the angelic energy that came so swiftly and frequently to me when we were in the hospital,
Yeah.
and I said, "Angels, I really need you right now. I would love to feel your presence." And I said that, and the main oncologist came in and a scribe that I hadn't met yet. And she leaned over to grab something, and on her arm was a huge tattoo that said 444,
No.
right hand to God. And I looked at that and I immediately grabbed my phone and I looked up because I knew that was a message, and I looked it up, and the definition I found is like, you are surrounded by angels right now.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That is so beautiful. Because, I've seen some of these, and if you do your own research, you might see sometimes they're like definitions of each one might be slightly off. And so I actually have never seen you are surrounded by thousands of angels right now. So how amazing is that?
I know. And the thing is, it's like, I hadn't heard this. Like, I think when I looked it up, it was like, angels are around you right now. But when you just read this description, it reminded
Yes.
me of like literally, and it's like such a vivid memory of this. It's almost like a dream. Like, I was having
Yeah.
these experiences where I was awake, but it was like such vivid imagery where it was just thousands of angels around my
Oh,
son. So, like, yeah.
how
So I like
amazing is that?
that was what I was trying to pull in, and I just saw the 444, you know? I know.
It's so cool.
It's, like, magical. It
It
makes you
really is.
feel like you are experiencing magic in your day-to-day. Like, this is why it's so cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it is. It's so tangible and like supportive. It's
Yes.
amazing. So 555. So around the time that you were seeing 333,
Yeah.
I was seeing 555. And so 555 says all of your efforts are paying off. Abundance is yours to have, live, and experience. Open up your heart, arms, and mind to receive the blessings that are being offered to you now. And I think what's so beautiful about that is a couple of things. One, we had been told that going into this summer, that this summer is really going to be a season of growth for us. So I thought it was very interesting and timely that I'm seeing all this about abundance, at that time, but also other things just within my home life, some things that are progressing with my kids in terms of their own development, my own development and growth through that, as we touched on in our last episode, like kind of getting some hate online, right? And having to work through that, but coming out on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I feel this and see this in my life so much right now. And I do feel blessed and I feel supported and I feel like there's finally some momentum, and some moving forward after a season of feeling a little bit stalled. So I just think that's so cool. And again, once those
Yeah.
things happened, I haven't been seeing it anymore. But it was like every morning I would look at the clock, and I'm an early riser, and I would always happen to look down at 5:55, and same in the evening. So every day I was seeing 5:55 twice on the clock. Would go to check out. My coffee was 5:55. And then now it's not happening anymore. And so it's so
I love
cool.
what you're saying about that because, like, I do feel like without realizing it, that there are certain cycles that we go
Yeah.
through. It's almost like this reminder of, hey, you might be experiencing something now or soon. And just know that you're loved and protected. And this is all part of the greater plan. I think like
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's not just a novelty, it's a reminder that we are loved and surrounded, and things don't happen to us, they happen for us. And angel numbers can just be this really tangible reminder of what that is. And like, by the way, you guys, I promise you, like now that we're just like talking about it, you are going to start experiencing angel numbers. Like if you haven't already,
Yes.
it's just like that's what happens. It's like you understand the concept, and all of a sudden, angels and guys are like, we got a live one.
Yeah.
We're gonna start throwing them
Yes.
numbers.
It's true. It's true.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
now
now
what about 666?
I know. I was going to say, now we're
freaked out about
people
666.
are freaked out about 666, right? And so here's what it is. Halt, stop, no. Do not make any sudden decisions. Your ego has taken control and is leading the way to heartache and fear. But you can recover your power. Call in the light of God.
Oh,
So 666 is really like a pause, stop, reconnect, right? Don't make any
Stop,
sudden
drop,
movements.
and roll.
Yes.
So maybe just stop and drop. Don't roll. Just stop.
Yeah, just stop. Don't do anything.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So like that's and it's a good thing. It's like, okay, now that we have this definition, if you see 666, like what self-reflection can you do in that moment to say, like, okay, where am I going down the wrong path?
Yeah.
Where could I maybe take a different direction? Or better yet, like, how do I welcome God's energy into this moment to help guide me through it?
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so 777. This is another one that I was seeing fairly recently.
This
and I
reminds me of
haven't-
like the slot machines.
I know.
Like
Bing,
ding,
bing,
ding, ding, ding.
Your magic and manifesting abilities are increasing at this time. Tap into your inner superpowers and release your magic into the world. So that's a pretty big one.
That is. So read that one again. Is it like intrinsic magic? Say it again.
So it's like, I think it's more about manifesting. So your magic and manifesting abilities are increasing at this time.
Okay.
Tap into your inner superpowers and release your magic into the world.
Okay.
So I think again, so probably a little bit similar to 111, right? Based on that description.
Yeah, this also makes me think too about there's a lot of new age thought and perspectives around everything in the universe that we could ever want already exists. We just have to match its frequency and energetic field, right? So maybe this is a nudge like, hey, you are raising your frequency. You are doing that. So if there's something that you desire or you want more of, now is the time to intentionally think about that. Like, because sometimes like we could be manifesting without even realizing that we're doing it. So if we could be more intentional, perhaps,
Yes. Yeah.
then, maybe it will line up a little bit easier. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. 888. Your life purpose and your wishes are in alignment. You are doing the right thing and are on the pathway of light.
I love 888. It reminds me of like the infinity symbol. I just think about like everything is just this beautiful connection, and we just kind of flow back and forth. But yeah, between like abundance and giving and asking and receiving and, crying and laughing, like just this like beautiful, I don't know. It just makes me think of that. I don't know if that's the exact definition, but whenever I see 8, I have kind of a cool 8 thing. So my son is completing his chemo treatment on August 8th. And I was like, that feels significant. I don't know. And I just looked up and I said, Siri, but what is the numerical significance of 8? Or what is the significance of 8 in numerology? And it was all about like endurance and, Phoenix rising from the ashes and hard work and obtaining your goals, like this journey of my son going through this for 2.5 years. And I had a friend that also looked up like what it means in the Bible. And it was all about like resurrection and rising from the dead and like this whole symbolic thing. And I don't know what compelled me, but I do. It's like my guides or my angel was like, you should look up your son's life path number. And it's the number 8. I
I
know.
mean,
I know. And it just, he's living his purpose. And it's just another sign again. And what's really cool too is like technically his last day of treatment is the 10th, but the last dose he will receive, because he's not currently getting medication on Saturday and Sundays, is August 8th. So
it's so amazing.
I know,
It's
I
just so
know.
amazing.
And like my husband and I like honestly teared up because I was like, I feel like that's an important number for some reason. And it is. It
Yeah.
is.
It's back to what you were saying. You will know if this is something to pay attention to. You just know. It catches
Absolutely.
your eye differently. You get that little nudge of like, hey, check this out. Look this up.
I almost like want to look it up really quick because it was such a cool thing. Give me 1 second. I took a screenshot.
Yeah.
Okay. In numerology, the number 8 represents achievement, abundance, strength, longevity, prosperity, hope, mastery, power, overcoming obstacles, and effort.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I was like, okay,
There you have
okay,
it.
we're doing it. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're so cool, Jace. All right. And then the last one we have here is 999. And this says, according to Kyle Gray, and I haven't seen this version before, but he says the Divine Mother Mary is supporting you as you move back to a sense of wholeness. Welcome home to your heart.
Oh.
So again, you can look up some of these and you might get different, interpretations or different things, but they'll all kind of in essence say the same thing. But one other thing I want to mention that was kind of cool that started happening to me, as I had mentioned before, dreams are really significant for me.
Yes.
And so what's been cool as Jason and I have been diving into this podcast is all of a sudden I started getting dreams where I would see almost in silver writing in my dream a number. And it wasn't necessarily a repeating number.
Right.
It might be like, I don't know, 387. I can't even remember if that is one. I have them written down somewhere. And then you just Google angel number 387. And every time, you guys, every single time, it would align perfectly with whatever it was that we were struggling with, or if we were feeling overwhelmed. It was like a way back to guidance, a reminder to connect, like everything will be okay. I mean, it just is, it's so amazing when we open ourselves up to this, what can happen. And so if you haven't done this, I just highly, highly recommend and encourage you just to try it. Even if you're skeptical, just try it.
Absolutely. Just try it. And I thought that was so cool when you started having those dreams and those deliberate numbers. That was almost more like a bigger, like neither of us had any clue that you could take any series of numbers and there's typically an associated meaning to it. I mean, there are books, you guys, that like basically go through like every combination of numbers that you could think of. And to your point, it's like it's impossible to ignore. It's like when you get something, you just know in your heart, like, okay, I think that this is some type of message. And it was like lining up perfectly to what you were experiencing at that time. And like just recently, like you open up my eyes too. Like my oldest son was like, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 everywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, man, the fact that he's just even noticing it means that he is spiritually aware. And I think that is why this is such a cool, like, forget the magic for a second and like that connection, but it's such a good practice to stop, pause, feel some kind of sense of gratitude, and then reflect. What does this mean for me in the moment? What a beautiful and fun way to do that. And it's cool to do it with your kids too. So check it out.
I know. Really fun.
Yeah. But Kyle Gray, he is like the angel guru. He is this beautiful, grew up with Christian faith and still has Christian faith principles that he adheres to. And he sees angels, he communicates with angels, and obviously has just been given this God-given gift. And it's a tremendous resource for people that are curious or learning more about it. Yes, I've read many of his books and I always get so many things out of it.
Yeah. Definitely check him out on his Instagram and just give him a Google search because he's awesome.
Yeah, we love Kyle Gray. All right, guys, what a fun and I just love this topic. And we don't know what we're going to bring you next week, okay? Like we're just, easy breezy lemon squeezy. We're now randomly stumbling upon topics and going to give you what we think is the most interesting in the moment. So a little bit of a change of what we've done before, but we feel really called to follow our heart and just, bring you whatever we feel inspired and led to talk about for the week. So stay tuned. We don't know what's going to be, but it's going to be good.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. If you're ready to take your spirituality to the next level, be sure to check out our website, spiritoutspoken.com. There you can download free educational resources, read our latest blog posts, and join the Spirit Outspoken community.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Spirit Outspoken to stay up to date on news, happenings, shenanigans, and all things Spirit Outspoken.